Hi there, my name is Ron Benegby. I am one of the co-founders, president, and chief revenue officer at Railz. We're going to be talking today about accounting data as a service, specifically as related to the small business lending space, and the inherent challenges that as an industry we've seen with respect to how slow it is to get information and accurate information directly from a small business customer, which ultimately translates to having a process that's very expensive and very inefficient. So that being said, as a fintech startup, we've looked at a number of companies and how they're innovating. And a couple of companies really stood out for us as related to what they're doing with respect to simplifying a process. Those two companies being Plaid and what they've done in banking, and Stripe and what Stripe has done in payments. Railz as an organization wants to do the same thing in accounting, and specifically as related to accounting data. So simply stated, Railz has created a simple single API that connects to the majority of accounting systems that a small business owner would utilize on a day-to-day basis to run his or her business. Out of that, we offer three core value propositions. One is data extraction, the ability to request on-demand, real-time information directly out of your customer's accounting software system. The second, and to our knowledge, we're the only company in the world that currently offers this, it's the opportunity to normalize the data at an accounting level, meaning our technology actually goes into every single data source that we're connected to, specifically the charts of accounts, maps those charts of accounts to all of these different data sources, and creates as a final output a universal language that we can give our customers where they don't have to manually touch the data. And the third bucket of value, as I like to reference, is what we call our toolbox of added features. We have a very robust insights and analytics engine supported by our own scoring and proprietary algorithms as related to credit, risk, fraud, and valuation metrics and methodologies. I do want to be clear, we're not a decisioning system, and think of this feature as another set of eyes. We make the process faster, better, and cheaper. And accordingly, we've seen the results over the last few years, most notably of which with Railz, you can be up and running in less than 4 hours. It's really that simple and that easy. And it's very exciting in terms of how we got here. Myself, Derek, and Sohaib, the three founders at Railz, we put this company together in 90 days, less than 90 days. Now, we ended up purchasing our technology asset directly from an existing alternative lender who had developed this very sophisticated system over the last couple of years. And accordingly, when we had our soft launch in mid-June, we saw tremendous demand. We saw demand on the client side. We saw demand on the investor side. And we have just closed our seed round with some terrific international investors who have really helped us to accelerate our business in a very short amount of time. Also, we've seen some great demand at an international level, mostly in distribution, where we're able to offer our solutions in a variety of different markets, not just in the US and Canada. So when you think of Railz, I'd like you to think of Railz as being the Plaid for accounting. I'd be happy to speak to any of you at any time about any questions you have, and I hope we have the opportunity to connect at some point in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. That was really interesting. And obviously that's a very important piece of every business, and it's not many people's favorite parts of business. So thank you. That's a really interesting technology. So a question from our audience is, what makes you different from any other competitors? Or even maybe what are some of the competitors?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're always trying to differentiate ourselves. I'd say there are three things. First, to our knowledge, we're the only company in the world that actually normalizes the accounting data by having our tech go into the different charts of accounts within a data source and really create a universal structure or language across all of the data sources. So ultimately, the final output to a client is a cleansed file that they don't have to touch. I'd also tell you that from a costing perspective, because we've structured the tech in a specific way, we're a fraction of market rates compared to most of the competitors out there. And then last, what I tell you is just our ability to get to market. It's very much like the Plaid and Stripe model, where we can give you our API docs, you can take a key, go play with it in a sandbox, and literally be up and running in 4 hours.
No, that's interesting. I think that's also very important, because especially with COVID, I think everyone's realizing that, really the key is if you can make it, faster and cheaper as well, because that's going to, it's definitely needed at this time. So thank you very much. It was great to learn and hear from you about what you guys are doing.